Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. And thank you for making your way here tonight. Allow me to start by asking quite an obvious question. Why are you here and why did you join Toastmasters? And for the guest, Barbie, why did you join? Why are you interested about Toastmasters?
I just want to learn.
To learn, okay. For whatever reason it may serve, we are here in Toastmasters because we want to be a great or good, even good public speaker. And the desire to be an effective public speaker, one way or another, might have originated from that one time you watched someone who delivered a really good speech and you thought, I want to be like this person. I have been in Toastmasters for over a year now. And even though I come here to sit down with you, listen to different speech, and learn something about public speaking, there seems to be something that I could still not pinpoint that these great speakers possess. And this what radiates from them whenever they give a speech. You know, even here in Toastmasters or outside Toastmasters, you get some suggestions or guides that a good speech, for you to deliver a good speech, sometimes we get a guide that you should add a personal touch to it. So you incorporate the personal experiences, or perhaps divulge a secret in your speech. Some other people would say that, I think that's what I would suggest before I learned about this, that a good speech is something that moves people. So it should have an inspiring call to action. Now, before I get involved about Toastmasters, before I even learned about Toastmasters, I have been watching a lot of TED speakers and also commencement speeches about in YouTube, right? About a vast and wild array of topics. One thing I realized that these great speakers, they don't necessarily rely on these devices. Personal experiences, or they do not necessarily include in their speech. It doesn't always have to be very inspiring and motivating. But what I notice about these great speakers, at least great for me, that their objective or the goal of their speech is always set to just one. It appeared to me that these speakers have their goal as whatever idea that they have is transferred and integrated to the minds of their listeners. So it's all about the idea. I once read before that the currency of the future is ideas. Okay. Now, what is an idea anyway? An idea, I don't want to be so technical about it, but an idea is basically an individual information that is collated in your brain to form what we call your worldview. And your worldview is how you navigate around the world. Let me show you an example. Let me give you an example. As I'm speaking here in front, you, as an individual person, have this individual information in your brain that leads you to your impression and your attitude about how I'm speaking right now, or whatever topic I am trying to say, or whatever message that I want to say in my speech. And so, same thing goes for the person that is beside you and the person that is beside the person beside you. Okay. Now that we know what ideas are, let's talk about worldview. Your worldview, it is comprised of these individual ideas that you might have gained from your day-to-day experiences, from your interaction on a daily basis. And this forms your worldview. And different people have their own worldview that can make or break whatever the future is for that person. Where am I going? Anyway. So this worldview is different for different person. And this is why ideas and worldviews really matter. If communicated properly, this can change the world for that person. You know, if the change of worldview happens, this can change the world for that person and ultimately influence their action and change their future for them. But where am I leading to? What am I talking about? So let's go back to the goal of a public speaker. A public speaker's goal is to have this idea and seep it in the minds of his or her listener. Now, if you accept that your number one goal when you are giving the speech or giving a speech is to have this idea that is important to you and have it integrated in the minds of your listeners, I have 4 guidelines for you. Okay. First, limit your talk in one major idea. I know this is a kind of difficulty that we all sometimes experience. There are just a wide array of topics and subject matter that you want to talk about. But you have to pick a topic and give yourself some time to explain your context, give context to the people, and give examples. Examples that are practical and realistic to your listeners. Second, for you to be able to give that wonderful gift of idea to your listeners, you have to allow yourself in their minds. You cannot just, build an idea in their minds without them even being interested about the idea that you want to give to them or you want to say. So in order to do that, you have to build their curiosity. You can say perhaps intriguing questions, just build their curiosity so that they would be susceptible or vulnerable to whatever your idea is. Okay. Third, now that your listeners are welcoming you, your ideas in their minds, you have to build your idea piece by piece using the language that is already available to them. So you have to start with their language, start where they are, and you build on that. And finally, and I think this is the most important thing, this is actually the one that is closest to my heart. The fourth suggestion that I can give is make that idea something that might matter and is worth sharing. Okay. We are all training or perhaps trained public speakers. And as humans, we have an innate need to communicate ourselves. Fortunately and luckily, we are blessed this ability to have a way to communicate or express our emotions, our ideas. But what we sometimes take for granted is that not everyone, although we all have the ability to communicate. We all have the ability to express. Even those who are mute can express themselves by using sign language. But what we often take for granted is that not everyone has the privilege to be listened to. So really what I'm leading to and what my message is, now that we are training Toastmasters, let us transcend the mere purpose of speaking because we want to express for ourselves and for our sake. Let's do it for those who doesn't have the privilege to be listened to. Let's speak for a purpose, and let's speak for those who cannot be heard. Thank you.